Imagine discovering an ancient door hidden inside a massive stone structure. There are no obvious hinges, no handle, no entrance around it. And the strangest part? Nobody knows what is behind it. For centuries, archaeologists and explorers have encountered sealed chambers and blocked passages inside ancient monuments. Some appear to have been deliberately closed thousands of years ago. But why? Ancient builders sometimes created spaces that seem to serve no obvious practical purpose. A passage may suddenly end at a wall. A chamber can be sealed behind enormous blocks of stone. And sometimes, modern technology can reveal that something exists beyond the barrier, even when nobody can physically enter. That creates an incredible question. Was the room designed to hide something, or was it never meant to be opened at all? Ancient structures were not always built simply as homes or ordinary buildings. Some were tombs, some were temples. Others may have had religious or ceremonial purposes. A sealed doorway could have been symbolic, a boundary between the living world and the world of the dead. But without knowing what lies beyond it, we can only speculate. And that's what makes these ancient sealed spaces so fascinating. Thousands of years later, we can stand directly in front of some of these barriers and still have no idea why they were built or what their builders wanted to keep hidden. Maybe the greatest mystery isn't what ancient people left behind, but what they deliberately chose to seal away. Fact number 2, the Devil's Kettle Waterfall. Imagine standing beside a waterfall, but instead of watching all the water continue downstream, you see something impossible. Half of the river appears to disappear into a giant hole in the ground. This strange place is called Devil's Kettle, located in Minnesota, USA. The Brule River reaches a point where it splits into two. One side continues normally, flowing downstream, but the other side plunges into a deep pothole in the rock. And for years, nobody could confidently explain where that water went. People threw objects into the hole, hoping they would appear somewhere downstream. But they never found them. This created an incredible mystery. Where does the missing water go? Some theories suggested an underground cave system. Others imagined hidden tunnels beneath the rocks. But scientists eventually found a much less supernatural explanation. The water that disappears into the pothole appears to rejoin the river downstream. Still, the strange appearance of the waterfall makes it look like the river is simply vanishing into the earth. And that's what makes Devil's Kettle so fascinating. Because sometimes nature doesn't need anything supernatural to create a mystery. It only needs the right combination of water, rock, and an unanswered question. Fact number 3, the lights that appear from nowhere. Imagine looking into the darkness, and suddenly, a glowing ball of light appears above the valley. It doesn't look like a star. It doesn't behave like an airplane. And sometimes, it moves. This strange phenomenon has been reported in Hessdalen Valley, Norway, for decades. Witnesses have described glowing lights appearing in different shapes and colors. Some remain almost completely still. Others move across the valley before suddenly disappearing. And this isn't just a story passed down by locals. Scientists have actually investigated the phenomenon using cameras, radar, and other instruments. Some observations have even been detected by radar. So what are these lights? Scientists have proposed several possibilities, including unusual atmospheric and plasma-related processes. One hypothesis suggests that charged particles and dust could create a glowing plasma phenomenon, but no single explanation has been confirmed as the complete answer. And that's what makes Hessdalen so mysterious. After decades of sightings and scientific investigation, lights still don't have a definitive explanation. So the next time you see a strange light in the night sky, remember, some mysteries really are still waiting for an answer. Fact number 4. The lost Roman city beneath the sea. Imagine walking along the Mediterranean coast and realizing that an entire ancient city is hidden beneath the water. This isn't a legend. The ancient city of Baiae, near Naples, Italy, was once a luxurious Roman resort visited by wealthy Romans. Over time, volcanic activity and gradual ground movement caused parts of the coastline to sink beneath the sea. Today, archaeologists can find roads, buildings, mosaics, columns, and other Roman remains underwater. Fact number 5. The underground city that could hide thousands. Imagine discovering a small doorway beneath an ordinary house. You walk through it. Then another passage appears, and another. Soon you realize you're not standing inside a simple underground shelter. You're standing inside an enormous city carved beneath the ground. This place is Derinkuyu in Cappadocia, Turkey. The underground city extends many levels beneath the surface and contains an astonishing network of tunnels, rooms, storage areas, kitchens, wells, ventilation shafts, and passages. But why would anyone build a city underground? One major theory is protection. In ancient times, communities in the region faced threats from invading armies and other dangers. Instead of fighting in the open, people could retreat underground. Heavy stone doors could be rolled across passages, making certain sections extremely difficult for outsiders to enter. And this wasn't simply a place where a few people could hide for a few hours. The underground complex was designed to support large numbers of people for extended periods. There were places for storing food. There were water sources. There were ventilation systems that carried fresh air deep into the underground levels. There were even areas believed to have been used for animals. But here's where the mystery becomes even more fascinating. Who built it? The underground structures were used and expanded over different periods, and researchers continue to debate exactly when the earliest parts were created. Some sections may be extremely ancient. Others were modified by later civilizations, and Derinkuyu isn't completely isolated. Cappadocia contains numerous underground settlements connected to the region's unusual volcanic rock. So beneath the landscape that looks peaceful from above, there is another world hidden below. Imagine living underground with your family, closing a massive stone door behind you, lighting a small lamp, and knowing that somewhere above you, an enemy could be searching for you. For the people who use these underground cities, this wasn't an adventure, it was survival. And perhaps the strangest part is this. We still don't know the full story of everything hidden beneath Cappadocia, because every tunnel raises another question. How much more of the ancient underground world is still waiting to be discovered? Fact number 6. The mysterious stone balls. Imagine walking through the forests of Costa Rica and discovering a huge stone sphere sitting among the trees. It's almost perfectly round. No writing, no obvious markings, and no clear explanation for why someone went through the enormous effort of creating it. These strange objects are known as the stone spheres of Costa Rica. Hundreds of them have been discovered across the country. Some are small enough to carry. Others are enormous, weighing several tons. What makes them fascinating is their unusual shape. Many are remarkably spherical, especially considering they were created by ancient people using stone tools. The spheres are generally associated with the Diquis culture, which flourished in what is now southern Costa Rica. But here's where the mystery begins. Why did they make them? Researchers have proposed several possibilities. They may have been symbols of power or status. They may have been placed near important buildings or settlements. Some could have had ceremonial or astronomical significance. Others might have represented social or political authority. But there is no single explanation that solves the mystery of every sphere. And there is another problem. Many of the spheres were moved from their original locations long before modern archaeologists could properly study them. Some were relocated to farms. Others were placed in parks, museums, or around buildings. That means archaeologists lost valuable information about exactly where many of them were originally positioned. And location can be extremely important. Imagine finding an ancient object without knowing where it originally stood. You can study the object itself, but you lose part of the story surrounding it. Some people have even claimed that the spheres are evidence of an advanced ancient civilization, or that their perfect shapes contain hidden astronomical meanings. But there is no solid evidence proving those more extreme theories. What we do know is already incredible. Ancient people deliberately shaped massive pieces of stone into remarkably round forms, and then placed them across the landscape for reasons we still don't completely understand. So perhaps the real mystery isn't whether ancient people could make these spheres. They clearly could. The deeper question is, what did these mysterious stone balls mean to the people who created them? Were they symbols of power, religious objects, markers of important places, or something else entirely? Thousands of years later, we still don't have the complete answer. Fact number 7, the lake that exploded. Imagine living beside a peaceful lake. The water looks calm, the air is quiet, nothing seems unusual. Then, without warning, a massive cloud of invisible gas rises from the lake. You can't see it, you can't smell it, and if you breathe enough of it, you can die. This terrifying phenomenon happened at Lake Nyos in Cameroon. On the night of August 21st, 1986, something extraordinary occurred. A huge amount of carbon dioxide suddenly escaped from the deep water of the lake. The gas rose into the air and spread across the surrounding area. Because carbon dioxide is heavier than normal air, it moved down toward the valleys and low-lying areas around the lake. People and animals nearby had almost no warning. The gas displaced oxygen from the air. By the time the danger passed, more than 1,700 people and thousands of animals had died. But what could cause a lake to release such a deadly cloud? The answer lies deep beneath the surface. Lake Nyos sits inside a volcanic region. Carbon dioxide from underground volcanic activity can dissolve into the deep lake water. Normally, that gas can remain trapped underwater. But if the deep water suddenly rises and pressure changes, the dissolved carbon dioxide can come out of the water rapidly. It's similar to opening a carbonated drink, except imagine the bottle being an enormous lake and the gas being deadly. Scientists call this kind of event a limnic eruption, sometimes described as a lake overturn that releases dissolved gas. And Lake Nyos isn't the only lake where scientists worry about this phenomenon. Another famous example is Lake Kivu, located between Rwanda and the Democratic Republic of the Congo. Lake Kivu contains enormous amounts of dissolved gases deep underwater. Scientists carefully monitor the lake because a major gas release could potentially have devastating consequences for nearby communities. Fortunately, Lake Nyos has been fitted with systems designed to gradually release carbon dioxide from deep water and reduce the risk of another catastrophic buildup. But the event remains a chilling reminder that danger doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes the most dangerous thing in nature is something you can't see. No explosion, no fire, no warning siren, just an apparently peaceful lake, quietly storing a deadly secret beneath its surface. And perhaps the most frightening thought is this: what other seemingly harmless places on Earth could be hiding dangers we don't yet understand? Fact number 8. The hidden corridor inside the Great Pyramid. For thousands of years, the Great Pyramid of Giza stood in the Egyptian desert, silent enormous and seemingly understood. Then modern technology revealed something unexpected. There was a hidden corridor inside it. In 2016, researchers detected an unusual area behind the pyramid's famous northern entrance. Instead of removing the ancient stones, scientists used a technique called muon radiography. Muons are tiny particles created when cosmic rays interact with Earth's atmosphere. They constantly pass through us, and importantly, some of them can travel through enormous amounts of stone. By measuring how many muons reach detectors placed around the pyramid, scientists can identify areas where the stone is less dense. It's almost like creating an X-ray of a gigantic ancient monument without cutting into it. The scans revealed a previously unknown structure. Then, in 2023, researchers announced that they had confirmed a corridor-like structure approximately 9 meters long and about 2 meters wide behind the northern facade of the Great Pyramid. But here's where the mystery becomes even more interesting. Why is it there? What was its purpose? Was it part of the pyramid's original design? Was it connected to a construction system? Could it have helped distribute the enormous weight of the stones above? Or was it connected to something we haven't discovered yet? Researchers have used tiny cameras and other techniques to investigate the corridor. But the discovery hasn't revealed a hidden treasure room or an ancient secret message. Instead, it has given scientists something arguably more valuable. Another piece of evidence showing that we still don't completely understand one of humanity's most famous monuments. The Great Pyramid was built more than 4,500 years ago, and despite centuries of exploration, its interior still contains unanswered questions. There may be spaces we haven't reached. There may be structures we haven't identified, and there may be reasons behind the pyramid's design that have been lost to time. Think about that. Humans have studied the Great Pyramid for centuries. We've climbed it, mapped it, scanned it, measured it. And yet, an ancient civilization still managed to hide a corridor inside it for thousands of years. So the question isn't simply, what's inside the Great Pyramid? The more fascinating question might be, what else haven't we found yet? Fact number 9, the cave full of ancient skeletons. Imagine entering a dark cave. You walk deeper into the earth. The walls are covered in ancient rock. Then your flashlight reveals something on the ground. A human bone, then another, and another. Soon, you realize you're surrounded by the remains of people who died thousands of years ago. But why were they here? One of the most fascinating examples comes from Cima de los Huesos, the pit of bones, deep inside the Atapuerca cave system in Spain. Scientists have recovered an extraordinary collection of ancient human remains from this site. The bones belong to individuals who lived hundreds of thousands of years ago. And that's what makes the discovery so important. This isn't simply a cave containing one ancient skeleton. Researchers have recovered the remains of thousands of bone fragments representing many individuals. But here's the mystery. How did so many bodies end up in one difficult-to-reach location? The cave isn't an easy place to reach, and the remains weren't simply scattered across an ordinary surface. Scientists have spent years studying the bones, their condition, and the geology of the site to understand what happened. Several explanations have been proposed. Natural processes may have contributed to the accumulation, but researchers have also considered the possibility that ancient humans deliberately placed some of the bodies there. If that's true, it raises an extraordinary possibility. Could these ancient humans have been deliberately disposing of their dead? Could the site represent an early form of mortuary behavior? Or did natural events bring the remains into the cave? The answer matters because it could tell us something about the behavior and social lives of our ancient relatives. Death is universal, but the way humans treat the dead has changed dramatically throughout history. Burial, cremation, tombs, cemeteries, ceremonies. If ancient humans deliberately brought their dead into this cave, it could provide a glimpse into behaviors that existed long before written history. And that's what makes the Pit of Bones so fascinating. There are no written records explaining what happened. No eyewitnesses. No ancient inscription telling us why the bodies ended up there. Only bones, rocks, and clues left behind by people who disappeared hundreds of thousands of years ago. Every bone is a piece of evidence, but evidence doesn't always give us the entire story. Sometimes, it only gives us enough information to ask an even bigger question. What really happened inside that ancient cave? And why did so many human remains end up there? Even today, scientists are still working to uncover the answer. Fact Factor 10. The stones that move by themselves. Imagine walking across a completely empty desert. There are no people, no animals, no vehicles, nothing that could move a massive rock. Then you notice something strange. A large stone is sitting on the ground, with a long trail stretching behind it. It looks like the rock has somehow moved across the desert by itself. This isn't a supernatural story. It happens at Racetrack Playa in Death Valley, California. The area is famous for what are called sailing stones. These rocks can weigh hundreds of pounds, and some have left trails stretching for hundreds of feet across the dry lake bed. For decades, nobody knew exactly how they moved. Some people proposed strong winds. Others suggested strange geological forces, and because nobody had actually watched a large rock move, the mystery continued. But eventually, scientists discovered the answer. And strangely enough, the rocks need ice. During winter, rain and snow can create a thin layer of water across the playa. When temperatures fall below freezing, that water turns into ice. The rocks can become trapped in or surrounded by thin sheets of ice. Then the sun rises. The ice begins to break apart. Large floating pieces of ice can catch the rocks. When wind pushes across the playa, the ice slowly moves, and the rocks move with it. As the ice melts, the rocks stop. What remains is a long trail across the muddy surface. From a distance, it looks impossible. It almost seems as though the rocks have decided to travel across the desert on their own. But there is still something fascinating about the phenomenon. The conditions have to be just right. You need water, freezing temperatures, thin ice, wind, and a particular kind of smooth, muddy surface. The combination doesn't happen often. That's why people could visit the playa for years without ever seeing a stone move. The mystery survived partly because the evidence was always there, but the actual movement was incredibly difficult to witness. Today, scientists have recorded and studied the process, and the explanation is natural, but that doesn't make it any less amazing, because sometimes nature creates something that looks like magic. And the truth is even more fascinating. A rock weighing hundreds of pounds, crossing an empty desert, leaving a trail behind it, without a human hand ever touching it. So the next time you see something that seems impossible, remember the sailing stones of Death Valley. Nature doesn't always need magic to create a mystery. Sometimes, it only needs the perfect conditions.